Well, you got to give Arizona a lot of credit. I thought they played at a really high level and played very well both halves. It's similar to Oregon in that we score in the 80s, but we just didn't get stops. Either half, we couldn't get enough flow to get any kind of rhythm defensively with stops. Our efficiency defensive was awful tonight. We gave up 48 in both halves, so they were very efficient and they were hard to guard today. And it's a valuable lesson. I thought we'd made some strides and we're really starting to put some things together defensively over the last several weeks since Oregon. But we regressed tonight against a really good basketball team that played very well today. So we have to watch this tape and learn from it and bounce back, because now we got 3 big games on the road.
What do you kind of see as the biggest issues defensively, and then how do you go about?
Well, we didn't defend the dribble at all. I think all of our guards really struggled keeping the ball in front. We were late with a lot of help. A lot of it has to do, and we've been really talking to our guys about stance off the ball to where we get help to the ball, and that's not happening. We're not reacting well. The defense is about anticipating, and we didn't anticipate well at all today. We had no rim protection when we needed it. And it's not so much rim protection, it's guys working in unison together. That I fight the dribble drive as hard as I can, and I got really good gap help. And we just didn't do that today, and we just couldn't. We really only had one stretch in the second half where we got in any kind of rhythm at all, and we just couldn't sustain it defensively.
Did anything change in the game plan when you heard Alonzo Trier was coming back?
Not really, because that didn't happen until late into the night, and we're not practicing with a 1 o'clock game, so that's obviously a big boost for them, and a very, very good player. And so that'll impact their team in a very, very positive way. They're an outstanding basketball team, and they've yet to lose on the road, so it speaks highly of what they are as a team. And this was our first look at them, and on film they look good, in person they looked even better. So they got a lot of good working pieces to what they do, and they shot the ball well today. They did a lot of good things. So we'll watch this tape and we'll try to grow from it.
Steve, you went to the zone to get back in it there, but then why did you go away from that?
Well, we had to, the clock was ticking, so we got some stops and got it back down, but then they made some shots. When we were in zone, they got it back up to 8 to 10. So once you're down 8, 9 points inside 4 minutes, all a zone's going to do is eat clock. So we had to try to get more possessions, and but our possessions, I think it was identical halves, same amount of possessions defensively, and the same outcome. So regardless of whether it's zone or man that we're in, we've got to play more in a stance, and we've got to have more urgency to get stops. This has been a highly efficient team offensively, and we were pretty efficient again today. We had, I thought, one of our toughest halves in the first half, and yet we responded in the second half offensively, and only 6 turnovers. So it wasn't so much our offense. We scored 85 points. It was not being able to string together any kind of rhythm defensively and get stops so we could get out in transition. I thought they did a pretty good job taking away our transition because they scored baskets. We just, your transition game is going to go away a little bit, and yet we still score 85 points. So it's just a valuable lesson for our group. They've got to learn. If we've been talking all the time, I think we're a very good basketball team, but if we want to become great, we've got to play as unselfish defensively together as we do at the offensive end.
On that exact note, Steve, they're 7-0 in conference. You now have 2 losses in conference. How do you make that the focal point of you've got to learn? What needs to happen there?
Well, we just got to keep drilling in practice. We've talked to the guys. Like I asked them in the locker room, so when's the last time we did an offensive breakdown drill? We haven't. It's every breakdown drill has been defensively. So, but I think points have become so easy, and the flow of the offense has become. We played Thursday night. We got 21 points 3 minutes into the game. It's just so it's become a little bit too easy at that end. And they need this. They need their short snapped a little bit. That yeah, you could be special. By the time we get to March, you could be awfully special, but your defense has got to grow, and it's not 1, 2, 3. These are, it's not individually. It's playing defense with the same intensity and unselfishness that you do offensively, and that's where this team, I think, has got to grow the most. There's not as much trust, there's not as much unselfishness at the defensive end to help one another than what happens at the defensive or at the offensive end. The offensive end, you see assist. Well, defense, they don't calculate assists, but there's assisting to defense, and we don't do that nearly as well.
Coach, how much did their second chance points hurt, especially the putback Markin got there with 45 seconds left?
Yeah, that hurt. They ended up with 12. We've given up, more than that. We got beat on the boards by 9, and that's all part of defense. That's part of finishing. If you're not turning people over, and we didn't turn them over today, and you're getting beat on the glass, that puts strains on your defense. So that's what I'm saying. It's not a guy or two guys. It's guards and bigs learning to play in unison together. And part of that is the positioning we're in. We get out of position, so now we're out of position to rebound the basketball. It all goes hand in hand. And I say assisting defensively, it's helping recover. And we're just not anywhere near what we got to be in the area of help and recover. And we got to spend a lot of time on it, continue to drill it, and hopefully that the guys understand that, because we're not just going to outscore people. We do have to, if we want to go to this next level, we got to get much better defensively.
Coach, with the zone, was that intentional to run it when Markkanen was off the floor and go back into man-to-man, or was it just coincidence?
No, there's a lot to that. He's really good. He looks good on tape, and he's even better in person. He's physical. He's got great size and strength for a freshman. He's a legit 7 foot. I think what I didn't know just watching tape was his ability to put the ball on the floor. Always knew he was an elite jump shooter, but for that size, to put the ball on the floor, he had a heck of a spin move there in the second half. We hadn't seen that kind of stuff on tape. I thought he was terrific.
Yeah, Coach, this seems to be the kind of game and team that in a couple months you're going to have to win these kind of games.
Absolutely.
Do your players get that now, or did they get that?
Well, I hope. It's a quiet locker room right now. It's a locker room that's upset, and it needs to be. But as we meet on Monday, that's got to be the focal point. That if they want to be special in February and March, that these are lessons that got to. And we did. I really thought that the Oregon game gave them a good taste of it because of how much we gave up in the second half and how bad our defensive efficiency was in the second half. And we did get their attention, and we've seen growth. But today we got hit, and they did play well. They played very, very well and executed and did a lot of good things. So, but hopefully it's an attention now that, okay, we've been defending and starting to show small growth, but if we're really going to be that team in the end, we got to do better than that. We got to get our defensive efficiency in the mid, at least upper 90s. It's in the hundreds, and it can't be there.
Coach, in terms of the struggles for the guards defending off the dribble, what causes that? What do you think that's a result of?
Well, I think trust. I think and that's what I'm saying about unselfishness that we have at the offensive end doesn't show up at the defensive end. In other words, I'm guarding you. I'm going to guard you a lot more aggressively if I know to my right and left I got help. I got a teammates in my gap and I'm helping. And too many times we had guys isolated, and that's hard. To defend in isolation is very hard, and our team defense isn't set up that way. So you'll see us doing the things we need to do when somebody goes to drive. The guy guarding's fighting him, but there's a guy on the right and left that's talking and gap help, and we didn't have that today. It was really just one-on-one play, and that's not how our defense is set up, and so we struggled with that. So it's building trust at the defensive end, we have incredible trust at the other end, but we got to continue to work on that trust at the defensive end.
All right, thank you, Coach.